So we are going to be graphing lines. But guess what? This is your last warning. Don't what me. Last warning. We are going to be graphing lines for the next several weeks. On your quiz, what did I have to do? Have you just like plug in X's to get Y coordinates and then we connected them, okay? Well, that's gonna be a little bit inefficient, okay? So today we're gonna talk about graphing lines using an intercept method. On Tuesday, we're gonna talk about graphing lines using what we call slope-intercept form, okay? So by the end of this, we're gonna have 3 different ways of graphing lines. And depending on our line, one's gonna be more efficient than another, okay? So first, I want you to understand that standard form of a line looks like this. AX plus BY equals C, okay? In like real talk here, if I had something like 5x minus 3y equals 15, that is a linear equation in standard form. A line. That's the graph of a line. Okay. Okay. Now what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to have you come off to the side over here, and I want you just to draw a cute little coordinate plane, an X and Y axis. Because whatever I do this on, like, watch, not a straight line, now it's straight. Okay. Anna, what do we call this right here? Okay, that's the x-axis. Estelle, what do we call this? Okay. This is what I would like you to do. I would like you to plot and name 3 points on the x-axis for me. You get to choose, just plot and label 3 points on the x-axis. Like on the x-axis, like this is a coordinate on the x-axis. Just 3 points on the x-axis. Label them though. I don't care if you do, sure. Yes.
So do you mean like actual points like 0, 2,
right? Okay, Payne, give me the 3 coordinates you plotted.
I put 0, -2, 0, 0, and 0, 3. I'm confused. I'm so confused.
So 0, -2 would be down here, my dear.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, so instead of 0, -2, let's name -2, 0.
So flip them.
Yeah. This guy right here is 0, 0. And then what was the third point you want to fix?
3, 0.
Okay, so these are Peyton's points. You have your points. Turn to your neighbor, your elbow partner. What do you notice?
No exceptions.
Just leave that there and I'll sign it later. Okay. All right, eyes up here. Raise your hand. What do you notice? Colin.
They're not evenly increasing.
Okay, he picked points. Okay, sir. Amelia? Oh, that was big time here. Holden and Aiden, we're having like a big light bulb moment here. The y coordinate is 0 because it's on the x-axis. Nirvan, is every coordinate on the x-axis?
Yeah.
Do they all like no matter like yours, Andrew's, these, any coordinate we plot on the x-axis, will it have a y coordinate of 0?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, it will. Okay. So I want you to come over here to this x-intercept. Okay. Okay. So the x-intercept is when our line passes through the x-axis. Okay. Now, what did we decide is true about every single point on the x-axis?
And 0.
Oh. The y coordinate is always going to be 0. I feel like that could be helpful. Don't you think? Okay, cool. Now let's come back to our cute little coordinate plane. We're going to talk about the y-axis now. Plot 3 points on the y-axis and label them. Y-axis. I then want you and your neighbor, your elbow partner, to have a conversation about what you notice about your 3 points and their 3 points combined. Yay! All right, eyes up here. Maddie, what did you and Carter talk about? The x coordinate is always going to be 0. So raise your hand if you also had that same conversation. So when we come over here and we talk about the y-intercept, the y-intercept is where our line is going to pass through the y-axis. And you all just told me that the y-axis is always going to have an x coordinate of 0. Cool. So we're going to jump around a little bit, and I'm sorry, but I want to go right now to this page right here. We're going to go to number 6 on page 78. Okay, so it says use intercepts to graph this line. What's that?
Is the x and the y basically the coordinates?
So,
Because they're, yeah,
so this is the line that we want to graph. Now, instead of making an XY chart like we did for our quiz, we are going to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. Okay, all right. Amy, the x-intercept we decided is always going to have what?
0.
Okay, so we're going to have this coordinate where the y is 0, right? And Colin, what about the y-intercept? What do we know about it?
That the x-axis is going to be 0.
The x coordinate is going to be 0. So here's what we know we're looking for, okay? So now what I want you to do is have a 20-second conversation about how you think we're going to figure out what this number is and what this number is. Talk to your neighbor.
I don't know. Really, the answer is but the x is 0 and the y
Watch your language, my dear. Okay. Hey, eyes up here. Who thinks they have an idea? Abby, what do you think?
we're going to be using the x and y coordinates to try seeing if what we
Okay, so we know in this coordinate that the our y coordinate is 0, right? What is that right there? And this I know the y coordinate needs to be 0.
He's saying that that's more than 0.
Oh, should we try that? Negative 8x plus 12y equals 24. But we know that the y is 0, so we're going to plug 0 in for y. It would be. Abby says, hey, 12 times 0 is 0. So really we have negative 8x equals 24. Nirvan, do you agree that x equals negative 3? Okay. So when y is 0, x is negative 3. And look at this. We have a coordinate. Okay. How did you get there?
because x would be 0.
Okay, so I'm just gonna like stop you there. We're gonna pause. For our y-intercept, x is 0. So we can come up here and we can say negative 8x plus 12y equals 24. Okay, so negative 8 times 0 is 0. So we have 12y equals 24. Oh, y equals 2. Hey, can I draw a line?
Sure. Is it going to be straight?
It's gonna be straight. Look at that. We have a line, and all we had to do was plug 0 in for y to get ourselves an x-intercept, and 0 in for x to get ourselves a y-intercept. You know, it's really confusing to me why there's so much talking going on. Well, I am. Okay. I'm going to give you about 60 to 90 seconds to see if you can graph number 7 for me.
It's not a straight line, and I got those two in the right.
Yeah.
It'd be 0, 1. I said it correctly. I said. I did not.
Kristen, are you done? Are you confused? Are you done? You're- okay. Okay, let's talk about this line. Elliot, tell me what you did for our x-intercepts. So you did this, y is 0. So 2x equals 4, which means x is. Okay, so we have the coordinate 2, 0. Okay, Abby, what'd you do for the y-intercept?
Okay, so basically, if x were to equal 0, that means 2 times 0 equals 0, which means y equals 4.
Okay, so y equals 4, and we have our y-intercept, and then we can connect them. Okay, now, when we're in standard form, this is the least amount of algebra that it's gonna take for us to graph a line, okay? So we have to do a little bit of algebra, but it's less than what we would have to do in some of the other methods that we have, okay? So standard form, especially when we have these nice numbers and we have these nice intercepts, like if this was 0, 5/3, that wouldn't be very pretty, okay? We may need to use a different method, and that's what we'll kind of talk about next week, okay? Now, I want to come back, sorry guys, to the page before, and I just want you to highlight this right here. This is what we did, but you kind of helped me figure it out before we actually did it. So I just want you to highlight it. So on Sunday night, when you're doing your homework, or Monday morning in Flex when you're doing your homework, this can be a reminder of what we did to get those x-intercepts. There's homework every day, sweetie. Guys, I am not done with the lesson, and I'll keep you until we're done, even if the bell rings. So just do what I ask and do it quietly. If you have a question, raise your hand. If you have a comment, raise your hand. Okay. So I want to come to now the page before. Do you see where there's like that big empty space where it says notes?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to, here's my X and Y axis. And I'm going to draw this line right here. It's a vertical line. So I want to talk about the equation of vertical and horizontal lines before our time is up. Okay. What is the coordinate right here? What is it?
3, 1. 3, 1.
3, 1, right? Okay. How about the coordinate right here?
3, 2.
How about the coordinate right
3,
here?
3.
What about the coordinate down here?
3, negative
3, negative 5. Okay. Interesting. I notice.
They're on the same line.
They're on the
The x-axis stayed the same.
They all have the same.
No matter what coordinate I pick out, the x coordinate's going to be. This is the equation of the line x equals 3. Whenever you have a vertical line, all of your x coordinates are going to be the same. So when we have a vertical line, we're always going to have, oh, I kind of did this backwards, that's okay. X equals that number. Every time. Vice versa. Okay, so let's talk about that, Abby. If I have a horizontal line, okay, so like this is the coordinate 1, -4, right? And this is the coordinate 5, -4. And this is the coordinate -1, -4. And no matter what coordinate I pick, what's going to be true? The y is always going to have the same value, okay? Whenever we have a horizontal line, the y is always going to be the same. So the equation of a horizontal line is going to be y equals some number. So on page 77, graph those two lines. Right here. Basically, you need to decide which one's vertical and which one's horizontal. Peyton, is number 1 a vertical or horizontal line? Yep. Peyton W, number 2, what kind of line? Vertical. You are going to be graphing in your homework. Just like I did, I drew cute little coordinate planes anytime I needed to graph, okay? If you want to graph on graph paper, I have no problem with that. I will upload your book assignment into Google Classroom. Have a wonderful weekend. Make good choices. Come to the volleyball game after school.
Oh, I can't. I have a nap. Oh, man, are you gonna